Tune into ESG Matters with Risk Insights, where we explore ESG with impact.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to ESG Matters with Risk Insights. I'm Anushka Bogdanov. As always, thank you for joining me as we continue to unpack developments in the ESG landscape and Africa's role in shaping the future of capital markets. I want to begin with a brief update on the legal matters pertaining to myself and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. I'm currently preparing for the financial tribunal process. We are still awaiting documents from the JSE, which means that the tribunal date has been delayed by at least another month. I will continue to keep you informed as the process unfolds. The JSE allegedly cancelled its contract with Risk Insights just 9 days after my sanction was imposed. I must stress that the JSE reg and commercial teams were fully aware of the investigation prior to the implementation of an ESG contract with Risk Insights. At one stage, the JSE M&A team issued an EOI considering the acquisition of Risk Insights, although this was later reconsidered in the light of market readiness. In the meantime, I have stepped back from my executive and director responsibilities at Risk Insights, and the Risk Insights dedicated team is doing everything possible to ensure that their operations continue as close to business as usual. As an SME, the impact has been significant. The sanctioning of a matter that relates to my service as an independent director more than 5 years ago has, without pre-warning, prejudiced Risk Insights as a company and its employees. To give just a few examples, the Institute of Risk Management of South Africa removed Risk Insights CEO Andre Bogdanov from its Risk and Intelligence Committee, and the University of Johannesburg cancelled its MOU with Risk Insights. These reactions are abnormal because the JSE sanctions are tied to a personal role I held years ago and not to Risk Insights, its governance, or its people. From a personal security perspective, the experience has been deeply painful. I was asked for an autograph at Hyde Park as South Africa's woman criminal. While collecting my medication, I was called an ANC thief. I was spat on by a person walking in my estate who labeled me as a rogue. To endure this while working through my illness has required immense mental and physical strength from me and all members of my family. Despite this, I remain steadfast. I have faith in my country, in Africa, and the principle that due process will prevail. I believe that once the hearings are concluded, all information will be made public. Despite these challenges, the value of the work at Risk Insights remains undeniable. The ESG GPS data underpins the mission of the G20 to attract capital for sustainability. In South Africa, it enables the creation of a credible transition index for the just energy transition, shaping both the bond and capital markets so that companies are prepared for this new era. Risk Insights has partnered with global index providers to continue this journey. Risk Insights data identifies both strengths and weaknesses, giving boards and management teams the insights they need to prepare for the future, attract global capital, and remain competitive. For example, South African and African companies often demonstrate significantly lower emissions than their peers in other markets. So if a global investor such as BlackRock were to compare financial services companies across several countries for investing, and if low carbon emissions was one of the main criteria, South African financial services companies would stand out for their lower carbon footprint, providing a clear competitive advantage. This advantage extends across multiple sectors in Africa and in South Africa. Beyond this, the Risk Insights data strengthens carbon offset markets. It improves climate risk management, and it deepens the African capital markets, helping to position the continent as a credible player in the global sustainable finance landscape. Risk Insights methodology is built on internationally aligned frameworks such as GRI, SASB, TCFD, CDP, IFRS S1 and S2 regulations, and the King Code tailored to African markets. Companies are scored across ESG pillars weighted to reflect both global materiality and African realities. Based on RI's latest ESG GPS ratings, only about 4 in 10 South African listed companies achieve a strong ESG rating of 3.0 or higher, while the majority cluster in the 1.5 to 2.9 range. The ESG GPS rating is a score from 1 to 4. This distribution highlights both the progress made and the urgent need to improve disclosure and performance if South African firms are to remain globally competitive. It is worth remembering that South Africa institutionalized many aspects of social justice metrics decades ago under the BEE diversity and inclusion targets, such as gender balance in leadership, SME and women-owned procurement, training and development, as well as health and safety. But while we had these frameworks, we did not fully measure and monitor them to unlock capital depth. Today, double materiality has become a global standard, and exchanges worldwide are competing fiercely on these same issues. Africa cannot afford to lose its natural advantage again, this time in carbon data. Risk Insights ESG GPS data is foundational for Africa's growth. Unlike many international data providers, Risk Insights does not restrict ratings to large caps, liquid caps, or paying clients. Every company on each of the 9 African exchanges is covered, rated, and Risk Insights has all the ESG data, thereby avoiding greenwashing and ensuring true market depth. Risk Insights methodology has been calibrated with market performance, news feeds, and ESG disclosure, and incorporates over 500 ESG global frameworks and applies AI-driven analysis to stay aligned with best practice through interoperability of various ESG factors that cut across frameworks and regulations. International regulators once suggested Africa should rely on proxy data from other markets. Risk Insights strongly oppose this. Why should Africa be disadvantaged when we have our own robust datasets with a 98% confidence level? With low carbon emissions and social integration numbers that are easily accessible, there is no need for proxy data. By producing jurisdiction-specific data, we avoid overstating and understating carbon and transition metrics. This ensures issuers and asset owners can stress test physical and transition risk performance, model stewardship, as well as prepare for financial resilience. Africa's lower consumption pattern gives us a genuine advantage. If measured properly, this can attract new green capital, create jobs, and unlock global investment flows. As an SME, Risk Insights has faced many challenges. A delayed listing process, unfair contractual practices with a large audit firm refusing to abide to its financial obligations, and now reputational pressures. Yet SMEs like Risk Insights are the engines of innovation, talent, and economic growth. Exchanges and regulators must create fair conditions for SMEs because they are critical to the capital markets and GDP growth. When self-regulation does not take a measured approach on risks for the broader ecosystem, it can create reputational and systemic risks, raising costs for listed companies and undermining trust. Despite the current process, Risk Insights remains steadfast. Risk Insights data is helping Africa stand tall in the global sustainability debates, ensuring that capital flows reflect Africa's realities and not assumptions. We will continue to serve the continent's future with humility, determination, and integrity. Our world is fractured and governance is at crossroads. Humanity now faces a choice: remain trapped in shareholder-centric value creation and archaic governance structures, or embrace a new path that cares for our people, our planet, and shared prosperity. By adopting new principles of governance and responsible action, we can create a stronger and a more inclusive world. May we stop the degradation of our earth and bring humanity together. ESG is not just a reporting framework. It is a tool for business leaders to drive meaningful change, to embed sustainability into decision making, and make the world a better place. Thank you for listening. Until next time, this is ESG Matters with the Risk Insights. I am Anushka Bogdanov. Thank you for tuning in. Ciao for now.